Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sacred Social Studios podcast. I'm your host, Lexi Wilson. Oh, no, Lexi Forbes. So I recently got married, and I obviously am in the process of, not obviously, I have chosen to take on my husband's name. His last name is Forbes, and that's a good name, right? Okay, all right. So I'm in the process of changing it. So sometimes I still make that mistake of saying Lexi Wilson, but I am officially a Forbes. So anyway, hi, I'm your host, Lexi Forbes. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the daily actions that I take to grow my Substack and how you can too. We're going to break it down, and I'm going to give you the exact daily, weekly, and monthly actions that I've been taking to build my audience, increase my engagement, because if you see on my Substack, there's a lot of engagement going on, lots of comments, lots of likes, and make this platform my main hub as opposed to what used to be my main hub was Instagram. So if you're serious about growing on Substack, this episode is for you. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to create this show today was because one of the most popular episodes is my breakdown on how I'm transitioning from Instagram over to Substack in the next 3 months. We are now in month 2 of my plan. And honestly, I'm growing so fast on Substack. And the engagement on Instagram is so low on Instagram that it almost feels like I don't need a 3-month plan. I'm pretty much just on it on Substack, and I'm just way ahead of schedule here. But I'm still sticking to the plan of a 3-month transition plan from Instagram over to Substack. But this morning I woke up and I have 333 subscribers. Woo! I need one of those soundboards so I can have like a clapping sound. Actually, I really should invest in a soundboard. That would be fun. Anyways, but I'm so excited. One, I'm excited because that's 333 different people that I get to influence and talk to and connect with and build relationships with and work with and all of that. I'm so excited, and you're probably one of them listening. So thank you so much for being a subscriber. And shout out to my paid subscribers. I have 9 paid subscribers, which is even like, what? That's amazing. Super excited. The paid subscriptions, you get extra posts, more personalized readings in your in said posts. You also get extra podcast episodes, which this episode is kind of what would be an extra episode, but I'm making it for everyone. And yeah, so you get a little bit more stuff when you become a paid subscriber, depending on which tier you choose. You may get discounts on future readings with me. Also, at the lowest tier, which is only $10 a month, and that's phenomenal to say that you get so much content, so many behind the scenes things for just $10 a month. Come on, that's amazing. But for even just for $10 a month, you'll get like monthly workshops and all of that on your marketing, on astrology, all of it. So I'm very like excited about the future. So shout out to those people who decided to support Sacred Social Studio and support me in the content creation process. But yeah, I'm really excited because I know that there are so many people who are trying to navigate being seen. You know, we are really struggling on platforms like Instagram and trying to get our audience to see our stuff. It's not that your stuff isn't good. Like that's what they used to say, right? Everyone would be like, well, if your content was better, then maybe you'd get more views. Well, that's not always the case, Karen. So sometimes the algorithm really just doesn't favor you. And I really believe that. And especially in this day and age, if you have strong political views of equality, you probably are not getting equal time. You know what I mean? So it's okay if you're feeling like, okay, nobody's seeing me. My followers aren't seeing me. Totally get that. This is why going to other platforms might be an option for you. And that might be why you're even looking at Substack or already on Substack. So let's talk about the foundation of Substack growth, because Substack is different from other social media platforms. It's still a social media platform, even though it's not, that wasn't what it started as. It really started as mostly a blog. But over time, Substack has really capitalized on the fact that people love to meet new people and talk to new people. So they've created their own inner threads, if you will, or their own inner Twitter, and it's called Notes. And that is one of the social media aspects of it. Plus, they have chat room features where you can talk directly to the people that own that Substack or run that Substack. Like if you love India Ari, she's also on Substack, and I'm in a chat room with her, and I was able to talk to her. How crazy is that? I'm so like, what? India Ari? Ugh. Okay, it's so exciting. But a lot of people are jumping on Substack, so get your name before it goes away and somebody else takes it. Even if you're not going to use it. But the point is that they have a chat room feature, and so that also creates another social media aspect to it and allows you to grow and meet new people and connect and build relationships and nurture the relationships with your subscribers. So although it does have a social media component, the way at which you're going to move on Substack is going to be different than how you move on TikTok or on Instagram. Your mindset also will need to shift because it is a different platform. And in some ways, to me, requires less from you than, let's say, Instagram. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it just to me requires less. And yet the impact is very strong because, for example, I have 33. Well, this morning I had 333, but now I just looked and I have 338. So we're growing very quickly. I'm so excited. I cannot believe this. I'm so excited. But the cool thing is that, okay, so that's 338 different emails that I now have access to. And my open rate, meaning how many people on my list look at my emails when I send them, is 57%. Now that is huge. I don't know the numbers because your girl is not a math girly, okay? But what I do know is that that is over half, right? And even if it wasn't that, on Instagram, you might have 3,500 followers. You might have, uh, you know, 1,200 followers or 31,000 followers. You might have all of that. But do you have that many people actually looking at your stories, looking at your reels, looking at your carousel posts? Probably not. You have 1% of that audience that's actually seeing your content. 1%. That's crazy. So that means that you have to have very large numbers to get to 300 people possibly watching your stories or 300 people possibly seeing your posts that are choosing to follow you. And so, oh, the cat food is going off. You guys, we have an automatic feeder. So, one, we don't, both my husband and I, we have ADHD. So it's easy to forget things. So we have an automatic feeder and it has our voices on it where we tell him, like, come on, come and get something to eat. So that's what you're hearing. Anyways, but what were we talking about? Oh, the 1%. So yeah, so to say that you might have just 1% of your people following or not seeing your content, 1% of your followers seeing your content versus on Substack, 57% of your people seeing your stuff. Do you see how much easier that makes it to build and nurture relationships with your audience, which eventually could lead to sales? That's huge. That's huge. And you see how much less work that takes. When you post on Instagram, you need to engage frequently before and after a post, while the post is going up, watch stories, engage with the comments, go back to your other previous posts and see if there's any comments you missed. There's so many things that you kind of have to do to get visibility on your posts. Whereas when you have a website like Substack, you still want to engage, and I still encourage people to do so, but you don't have to do as much to be visible because it's going straight to the inbox. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. So first of all, hold on one second. Cammy. All right. Sorry, you guys. Sometimes the dog goes and try to get the cat food and we don't want that. This is real life, all right? It is what it is. And if I could pause it, I would, but I can't. Okay, so the first thing is growth isn't um on Substack, growth isn't about getting lucky with one big viral post. It's really about consistency and building real relationships with your audience. When you're looking at something like Instagram, the focus tends to be on, going viral and getting as many views as you can on your post, or getting as many likes as possible, many shares and comments, and that determines whether or not your stuff is going to be visible. But in Substack, it's not about that. It really is about showing up consistently and how many times can I say that? And creating content that speaks to your audience and nurtures the relationships and continues to invite them to come back for more, whether it's come back for more free stuff, come back for more content, more podcasts, or upgrade to a paid version, whatever it is. But it's encouraging your people through your writing, through your videos, through your trainings to build a relationship with you. Right. And so, that's the first thing. It's not about going viral. Number two, unlike Instagram, where your posts are going to disappear every single day, which means you have to show up daily, you only have to show up. You do have to show up consistently, and consistently is different for everyone. But your newsletter goes straight into people's inboxes, kind of like what I was saying earlier, where because I have a 50%, 57% open rate, which is very high, pretty awesome. I love my people because they really trust me and they show up. But because of that, that means that I'm going straight into people's inbox and they can read it whenever they feel like it, but it stays there. In addition to the fact that even the posts themselves that are on the website stay there, they continue to be rotated through Substack's marketing strategy within the app for days on hand, kind of like LinkedIn, where with LinkedIn, you make a post and that post could go viral a whole week later. Well, the same can happen with Substack, where because they continue to promote your stuff over and over and over again for a few days, at least anyway, from what I'm looking at, you're able to get more eyes on your stuff past the 24 hours that you would see with Instagram. In addition to the fact that with Instagram, because stories is more of a private space, unless people click into that place, Instagram doesn't promote your story. It just promotes it to the followers and that bubble, but it doesn't like go outside of that, versus like Reels is being promoted to, non-followers, or carousel posts are being promoted to non-followers. Well, Substack is also being promoted to non-followers as well as your followers and subscribers. So that makes a huge difference in terms of visibility and getting new audiences, new eyes on your material. And yet you don't have to show up every single day if you don't feel like it. Small intentional actions compound over time when it comes to Substack, and they help you to build a loyal, engaged subscriber base. So it's about showing them that you're consistent, that you're showing up. So if you just created a Substack, you do not have to post every day like on social media, but you do want to. What I would encourage you to do is engage every day, but we're going to talk about that shortly here, about what the daily things that I'm doing. I would encourage you to engage every day, but that doesn't even have to take nearly as long as it does on other platforms. But I definitely encourage you to show up consistently, meaning maybe once a week or twice a week, that you're actually creating something, or build the relationship with your audience and let them know that you're only going to be posting twice a month, every other week, or whatever. So they know, oh, okay, like, let's say if you were like, I'm only posting on the full moons or only on the new moons, then they know every new moon and every full moon to expect a post from you or a podcast from you. And if you create that consistency with them, then your audience is more likely to continue to follow up with you and stay with you, including your paid subscribers. So like I said, consistency is different for everyone, but it's about showing up and creating, what is that rule for myself that I'm going to create, and then I'm going to do that. Now, mindset shift. Let's talk a little bit about that. With Instagram, the mindset is about attention, right? It's the attention economy. Whereas Substack, It's value economy. And you can see the difference in the sense that you can create something amazing with so much value, with so much amazing, just like positive energy inside of that reel or inside of that carousel post, and yet it will not take off. But somebody else can post something ridiculously dumb, and then that takes off. And you're like, where was the value add in that other than it being entertaining? But even then, sometimes it's not even entertaining and it still takes off, right? Well, Substack is about value. Even in terms of the people that show up on Substack, there's a depth there because these people are readers. Not to say that if you're on Instagram, you're not a reader, because I'm on Instagram and I'm still a reader, but you know what I'm saying, right? It's like the point of Substack is reading, is like really diving deep into people's blogs. And so the energy is just different. The expectation is different. People subscribe because they want what you offer, not because they magically showed up out of an algorithm. How different is that? And that means a huge change for you in terms of your mindset around what you're creating. What I also love is that when you're creating something like a paid Substack, you can create this community where you're able to show up really, really powerfully. So let's say you have like a witchy vibe and you're not yet ready for that to be something that everyone sees. Well, maybe that's only for your paid subscribers, that they get more of that, the tools to finding your energy or reading your aura or whatever it is, like that. When you want to get even deeper into some of those magical elements, the paid subscribers get that versus the free subscribers might get more of the stuff that makes you feel a little bit, like safer to put out there. But you see what I mean, where it creates this like difference. It creates this intimate connection with your audience, where this is about people who have chosen to be in your space. They've chosen to actually see your things, and they're not just showing up because an algorithm forced you onto them, which sometimes can be good. We've found a lot of people through the algorithm, but sometimes these days, especially with so many, trolls online and things like that, it can be very discouraging sometimes to show up on the wrong algorithm. Instagram is also very fast paced and it can be very surface level. It's built for consumption, whereas Substack is long form, relationship driven, and it's built for connection. So that kind of speaks to what I was sharing a little bit earlier, that there's a difference in even the person that shows up on Substack versus the person who shows up on Instagram. And there's a place for it all. But even if you want to say it's not the difference in person, it's the difference in attention span. When I show up on Substack, I know that I'm coming here to read something, to connect with someone on a deeper level, versus when I show up on Instagram, I'm probably just thinking entertainment, bite-sized information. I'm not expecting to stay on the platform very long with one person. You see what I mean? And so that's also the other thing, that you have to shift your mindset, that it's like, what is the value add that I can create for this Substack so it takes off? What is that long form content, that really strong opinion that I have, that I really want to dive into, because your audience is expecting to hear at length, what do you think about whatever's going on and whatever's happening, or whatever the topic is of your Substack? And on Substack, you're not fighting an algorithm anymore. So your email list is direct access to your people. And that also has to be a mindset shift, is that I'm not trying to please the algorithm gods. I'm now just trying to keep my people happy. Yes. How freeing is that feeling, people? I don't know about you, but that is a big deal for me, to be able to know that I am actually connecting with my people, and that that's who I'm trying to please, that I'm not trying to please the gods of Instagram or the gods of TikTok, but that I'm actually just trying to connect and reach my people and speak to their needs and have conversations that I would love to have with them. Like, that is chef's kiss, amazing gold. Okay, so now let's talk about, how do you balance free versus paid content? Because that's also the other thing that makes Substack pretty awesome. You can do paid content on places like TikTok and Instagram because they do have subscribers. However, most times when it comes to at least Instagram, I don't know the rules on Substack on TikTok, but on Instagram you have to have, at least 10,000 followers and like I don't know. There's like a bunch of rules that you have to follow. And so if you don't have that, then you can't create paid content for your Instagram. And also, I have done paid content on Instagram to support my favorite content creators. And I got to say, the platform isn't really that great for paid subscribers, I feel. But Substack, on the other hand, where I have paid content creators as well to join their Substacks, I feel like I get a lot more information, a lot more tools, and a lot more knowledge. So, and the platform itself just works better for you than the Instagram subscriber option. But here's what I'm thinking. Okay, so when it comes to your free subscribers, what you want to focus on is getting valuable content to build their trust, to build authority, right? And so that's where it's like you're just trying to create content that, again, value, value, value. This is not about just getting the attention. It's about helping your audience be able to accomplish something, to learn something, to develop something, to create something, to be inspired, to be encouraged. Like, what is the thing? Like what I'm doing right now, right? I'm trying to help you create your Substack. So I'm adding this value add to you. And it also creates authority when you create value based content, because now you're taking your experiences and you're sharing them along with them. And even if you're like, well, I feel like there's nothing that I know that I feel like I'm an authority on. Well, look at what I'm doing right now. Like, I have only been on Substack for 2 months and I've already seen so much growth, and I'm sharing the journey, which establishes authority. It shows you that I'm actually doing something that's working and then helping you to create that, to recreate that in your world as well, right? That ends up building authority. So it's not just always about mastering something and being like, okay, I'll wait until I get 1,000 subscribers and I'll wait until I get 10 paid subscribers, or make, $6,000. Like, it's not about that. It's not just about that. You can certainly do that, set a milestone and decide that once you hit that milestone, now I feel like I'm an authority on this topic. And so now I feel like I can add value, but you can always add value just by sharing the journey that you're on as well. That also adds value and allows you to build authority. Then when it comes to paid subscribers, these are the people that you want to give them deeper insights, exclusive offers, behind the scenes content that makes them feel like they're part of something exclusive, like they're part of something special, because they are. These are your intimate people who are supporters, huge supporters of what you've created, and or they have found that your work has made such a difference in their lives that they're like, I've got to be in her energy. I've got to be around her. And so go ahead and dive deeper into some of, like I said, with what I do is a lot of my content is free, but then if I'm offering like readings into each of the signs or readings into each of the houses, that's going to be exclusive for the paid subscribers, because that takes a lot more time, a lot more energy, a lot more knowledge. And so that will be reserved for those who have actually paid for that, versus you're still going to get a huge amount of value, because remember, you just got to lead with value. So you're still going to get a huge amount of value, even if you don't get that personalized reading aspect to it, or get all these other extra things like a workshop or access to asking me questions and receiving some sort of coaching and things like that. Like, you're still going to get quite a lot from me in the free, but at the same time, if you're in the paid, you're going to get even more depth, right? And more personalization. And that's what I want to encourage you to do as well. What can you offer to your audience that is free versus when you're creating the paid stuff that is more exclusive? If you are a Reiki practitioner, what you could do is your free stuff includes maybe like once a month, they get a free video or free access to a video of you doing distance Reiki, or Reiki for anxiety, Reiki for grief, whatever, right? And then they get occasional posts from you. But then for the paid subscribers, they get a library access of regular videos of you doing distance Reiki, or Reiki for different energies or different days or things like that. Like, they get even more stuff. Maybe you're an oracle reader. And so it's like the general audience, the free audience, gets the insights on weekly energy reads. But if you're a paid subscriber, you get access to your chat room, which that's also the other thing too. You can create your chat room to only be for paid subscribers. So that means that you could be coaching and doing energy reads and all this other stuff inside of your chat room on a daily basis or whenever you want. Every Monday, ask a question and I'll pull a card for you or something like that. And then you can create videos and you can create all this stuff where it's like those trainings or those readings or go live only for paid subscribers, that for them, they are the ones who get the personalized oracle reading versus everyone else gets the general weekly reading. You see what I mean? Like, you want to create these things that really invite people to grow and stay with you. And then your goal is you're going to nurture your free audience so that way they naturally want to upgrade to your next offer. They want to work with you and either book you for a service or purchase a product from you. Let's say you sell Oracle decks or angel cards. Now they want to purchase that from you because of all the value that you've given to them for free. Or they want to upgrade to paid because they want that exclusive reading. They want that discount. They want whatever it is, or they just want to support you. But the point is that you want to create enough really great free content. You don't want it to just be fluff, is my point. Because again, Substack is a value-based economy. It's not about attention. It's about value. And you're never going to convince anyone to join your paid content if your free content is really just fluff, right? Okay, so here are the daily things that I'm doing to grow. These are the non-negotiables. I do it every day except for the weekends, or except when I'm in my late luteal phase. Because I run a cycle-based business. So there's that. But number one, I engage on Substack notes. I comment on other writers' posts. I start conversations and I build connections. This is what I mean when I say I may not post every day, but I am talking every day and I'm talking to somebody. Okay. So get on Substack notes, and I do the same thing on Threads. Every day I'm on Threads, just trying to find conversations that I can be a part of, whether we're talking about Summer House, Agatha all along, Daredevil is about to come out on Marvel. So I'm about to jump up in that community because I love Marvel. And I often find clients, even when I'm talking about TV shows, it's amazing. It's phenomenal. I love that. But that's because my people are very into pop culture. So, and I know that. But anyways, the point is that you want to regularly engage and comment on other people's stuff. Don't just post on your stuff and just be like, okay, now I hope people come over. You need to go out and actually read other people's posts and then leave a thoughtful comment. The other thing is I check and reply to any comments or emails that I've received based off of the posts that I've created. So this acknowledging my audience builds loyalty and keeps them engaged. I mean, how many times have you maybe followed a celebrity or an influencer, you commented on their stuff, and then they never responded or even liked it, and that's discouraging. You're like, okay, well then what's the point of me talking to you if you're never going to respond, right? So that's what I make sure, not to say that I'm a celebrity or an influencer, I'm just saying, but I'm like, I know that if I don't make a point to respond to my audience, then my audience is going to be like, well, she never talks to us, so there's just no point in commenting anymore. So make sure that you're going back and you're commenting. If you get any emails, sometimes I get emails from people being like, that was a really great post, or that was a really great podcast. So I go ahead and I respond to that. Then I also share any of my latest posts, but I do it strategically. So this means that I repurpose it across Instagram stories, Threads, and TikTok to bring in new readers. So, and what is awesome about Substack is it already creates this stuff for you. It literally will create, even perfect to the dimensions of quotes from your post that will stand out. And then you can just take that same post and put it in your Instagram story. They will create videos of you talking on your podcast, and then you can take that and post it directly to your reel. Like, this is easy peasy. But that way, now if you only create, like, let's say a weekly reading, right? Energy readings for every week. then if you were to do like a podcast or a video episode of that, you could take that, take a snippet of it, they'll create the snippet of it, then create a reel from that and repost it throughout the week. And now you only posted once, but it seems like you've been posting like every day and across different platforms. And then maybe you take that video and maybe the words that you said, you rewrite that and then post it on Threads, or just look at the transcript, because they also create transcripts for you, and then put that on Threads, put that on the notes feature inside of the thing. So you see how it's like just easily repurposing your content. Even though you're only creating one thing for Substack, you're now using that to create 5 different pieces of content to then spread out all over. And then the other thing is I plan my next piece of content. So I brainstorm, I create outlines or drafts or things like that, just so I stay ahead. So I don't always post every day, but for the most part, I have a lot of ideas, because that's literally what I do, is create content for people and for myself. As a social media strategist, I create content a lot of times for other people as well as myself. And so I'm always having these ideas. So what I'll do is I'll actually write down any of my ideas and put them into the drafts. And then when I'm in a space where I can edit, or I just am bored, I'll go back, edit, add pictures, change some of the wording, do whatever I need to do to make sure that it's perfect. And then I schedule that post. A lot of times too, what I do these days is instead of just like with Instagram, when you create content like Instagram stories, you create by like the hour, you know what I mean? Especially if you're on stories all day, then you're creating content like all day. The cool thing about Substack, and kind of going back to at the beginning of the episode when I was talking about the mindset shifts that are necessary, the cool thing about Substack is you can create content and then just schedule it. So now you can be pretty frequent. Like the first week that I started my Substack, I was posting every single day, but I didn't really do that because I scheduled it. You see? So I was living my life, but I was still in people's inboxes because it was all scheduled for every single day. So that's, something that it's like, if you have ideas and you're like me, you're constantly creating content, don't just create the content and then just like spill it all out of you. Go ahead and create the content, put some of it in your drafts, put some of it in your scheduled, and then have it scheduled to go out on certain days or whenever, once a week or whatever. Which is even better. If you only do like once a week, then you're only writing like 4 posts. Come on. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty awesome. Anyways, how do these options, not options, how do these actions drive actual growth? Let's talk about that. So first of all, Substack Notes keeps you visible within the platform. Okay, because the more you engage, the more likely you are to be discovered. Replying to comments builds a personal relationship with your audience, which makes them more likely to share your content, right? I see that a lot, that when I am engaging with someone else's content or responding back to their comments and their questions, that same person is more likely going to restack, which is like a repost of my content, because there's a connection there that we're building. If you get DMs from people, I get messages from people, and I try my hardest to stay on top of those DMs and build those relationships with people so people feel seen and they know that I really value the relationship that we're creating, the friendship that we're creating here in the DMs. So you want to do exactly the same thing. Then also sharing across multiple platforms like Instagram stories, like Threads, like TikTok, gets more eyeballs on your work, right? And so that it brings in other people, which if you already have like an email list, or you already have, again, Instagram followers, since I'm transitioning from Instagram, I want to remind my Instagram followers, like, I'm still here, I'm still online, I'm just not necessarily on this platform that much. So come on over. Come on over, come on over, baby, to Substack. Okay, now let's talk about the weekly goals. All right. So here are the things that I do weekly to stay ahead. One, I promote my Substack in a fresh way. So I create a new reel or an IG story or a thread that drives traffic. I don't have to create a new post each week if I don't want to. What I can do, like I said, is create the content so that way I'm staying ahead, schedule it, and then each week promote it. Do you see what I mean? So you don't have to create something every week if that doesn't feel right. You can definitely, like, maybe during, if you have a cycle during your follicular or your ovulation stage, that's when you're at your most high energy and most creative. That is the perfect time to sit down and just punch out all that stuff. Or you may find that maybe you're different and you're during your luteal phase, because you tend to be a little bit more intuitive during that time, and you feel like, I want to just sit still. Maybe that's the time that you go ahead and you punch out, 4 different posts. But the point is that you can definitely batch create and then keep them as drafts, schedule them when they're ready, and then that way, when it's time, now you get to promote your Substack in a fresh way. You create a new reel, and like I said, with Substack, the cool thing is that they create several of this stuff for you. So you just have to just post different snippets or different quotes from your content. Another thing that I do on a weekly basis is I repurpose a past post. So I'll share older content to reach new subscribers, or I'll look at one of my posts and then uh, see if there's anything else that I would add to it. You kind of see, like, right now, what I'm doing is repurposing. Essentially, there's an episode that's already doing very well. And so it's like, okay, people obviously need more of this. So I'm going to create another episode diving even deeper and getting even more insights into how do you grow your Substack? How do you get more people and more eyes and eventually more customers into your business? I'm repurposing something, and I'm going to keep repurposing it until it doesn't make sense anymore or I run out of conversations. But the point the point is that if something is resonating with your audience and you can see that a lot of people are saving it or stacking it or commenting on it or asking questions about it, then go ahead and ask yourself, what are the other things that I could say about this said topic, and how could I reframe this, and or what are the deeper insights that I can maybe offer to my paid subscribers. Like I said, this would normally be a paid subscriber episode, because I'm diving deeper into insights, but I'm making this free for everyone to be able to listen to. But it should, the deeper insights post where you're really diving into something or really teaching something should be something that's definitely for your paid subscribers. The other thing that I also do now is I start shouting out or connecting with other writers. I recently did a collaboration with Creative Tarot Insights, and I really enjoyed it. It was so much fun to be able to take my words and kind of write them and, meet the needs of a totally different audience. It was fun, and kind of like a stretch, because now it's like I'm meeting different people and all of that, and then going back and you want to engage with those people that are commenting on that post that you just became a collaborator of. That's one of the things that Substack does. So what you could do is you could ask someone, would you be willing to write a post for me and I'll tag you in it, or vice versa, which is also so much cooler than Instagram stories. Because, I remember back in the day when people would sometimes do like a stories takeover, and they would just take over someone else's stories. That is so much harder than this, where you can literally just be like, hey, can you write something for me? And then boom, now you're writing. So you can definitely ask people if they would be open to a collaboration, invite them to collaborate with you, and then maybe they'll invite you to collaborate as well. And that'll boost exposure because that's a whole new audience for you. The other thing that I look at is my analytics. Every week, I'm looking at what are my open rates, what are the growth trends, and then I adjust my strategy according to that. So if I see, for example, like this one, where I had a lot of people listening to the episode about my 3-month plan for Substack, that it was like, okay, it makes so much more sense to create content around that topic because people obviously want to know about it and they need the support. And so many of us are trying to figure out Substack, and we're trying to, like kind of hack the system and see how we can make this work for us. So that makes sense that it's like, I would create something that helps you to do that, right? So check those open rates. What are the things that if you see that you created an email and not a lot of people responded to it, it could be the content, but it also could be the title, maybe that it wasn't enticing enough. But the point is that you're looking at this stuff to help determine what is working and what's not working, and then what can you do. So why is this so important? One, this keeps your Substack front and center if you're constantly updating at least once a week without feeling spammy. If you're posting all the time, every single day, it will get annoying to your audience because they're getting that in their email, in their inbox. Like I said, if you want to do it like for a challenge or like I did for the first week of my Substack, then totally fine. But don't put that pressure on yourself to do that for all of time, because it's a lot. And remember, value, 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 not attention. This other thing is that when you repurpose a past post, you encourage your new subscriber to explore some of the older content, because then they see like, oh, she's already talked about this before. Maybe she says something different here. And more than likely you did. And so now they can go and now they get to binge watch the same topic from you and learn from you, which is kind of like a workshop, that they get. Hence why, again, it should be part of your paid subscribers, because you are giving so much value. But the point is that it does encourage them to see your older content, and you can also link your older content inside of each post. So that's pretty awesome too, encouraging them to be able to, look at stuff. And then on top of that, the reason why I look at my analytics every week is because it helps me to pivot quickly if something isn't working or if something is working. So if I only do my insight research once a month, I'm going to miss a lot of opportunities to change or to enhance or to amplify. Like, I'm going to miss a lot of opportunities. But if I'm looking at it every week, then I have a higher chance that people are going to keep coming back, because now I'm seeing on a weekly basis what is resonating with my audience and what is not. This is specifically also really important too if you are someone who does kind of what I do, where I'm creating content in so many different forms, that it helps for me to be able to see like, more people are opening, the newsletter than they are listening to the podcast, or vice versa. Okay, and then let's talk about lastly the monthly big picture strategy. Now that I've passed my first month and now I'm into my second month, second and a half, if you will, let's talk about what I focus on first. I launch or refine my paid offer. So I see what's working and I tweak the strategy. So I looked at, okay, now that I've started offering paid subscribers, is there anything else that maybe I feel like I should add or maybe even remove from the paid subscribers list, especially if you don't have any paid subscribers? If you already have paid subscribers, then girl, you already made the promise. You got to do it. But unless you make an announcement saying that you're not going to do it anymore, and that's okay with your audience, of course, then that's totally fine. But you want to keep that conversation going with them. You don't want to just like delete a service that they have expected from you and have paid for. But the point is that you want to look at, okay, what is the strategy of what's working, when it comes to your paid offers, and what are people really resonating with. The other thing is experiment with new content formats. So try audio, try creating a PDF, or try creating a challenge, try the chat room feature, just like have fun experimenting with all the different ways that you can show up on Substack. This is different than Instagram, where with Instagram, there's all these different ways to show up, but Instagram determines when you're supposed to show up doing what. So now reels and carousel posts are the way to get visibility. So if you're going live, if you're posting your stories every day, great, but you're probably not going to get nearly as much visibility if you just post a reel or if you just posted a carousel post. You see what I mean? But on Substack, it doesn't matter. As long as you're on Substack creating, Substack is like, hey, thanks so much for the content. Let's push this out. You see? It's so much easier, so much easier. And then, of course, I email my list with any exclusive updates that are coming for the month. And I'm still trying to decide exactly what's going to be my like exclusive update for the month of February, since now it's March. But this just keeps my audience engaged and keeps them like, oh, I wonder like what's going to happen, right? And then the last thing is hosting like a live Q&A or discussion thread that strengthens my community. So I haven't done this yet, but I'm planning to do that, is host a live Q&A. And I'm thinking to do that for free, but then for my paid subscribers, they're actually getting an additional workshop. And I still haven't decided on the topic, but they're getting an additional workshop as well because they are a paid subscriber. So why does this matter, or why does this work? One, it allows me to scale without burning out. I'm able to create content based off of what I see working. I'm able to repurpose. I'm able to, like, if I see that, maybe what I'll do is I'll create a checklist of what you can actually, that is such a brilliant idea. Create a checklist of what to do on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis based off of this particular episode. We'll see how well it does. But if it does do well, that could be the next way that I repurpose it, is by creating a PDF worksheet and making that maybe for the paid subscribers. I don't know. We'll see. Especially since that takes more time, it would make sense, again, since it takes a lot of time and energy, and even the financial strain of, like, not strain, but you know what I mean? Like, it costs money to pay for Canva, to do the graphics, to do this, to do that, to have a place that hosts that download and all of that. It takes money to do all of that. And so maybe that could be another way that it's like, if something costs me money, then that's going to be something that's for the paid subscribers. Could be that. Also, doing this on a monthly basis allows you to keep your content fresh and engaging, and it will help you to test new monetization strategies. So you can figure out, like, okay, well, maybe podcasts are just going to be for paid subscribers now, because I'm realizing that only paid subscribers are listening to it, which you can see in your analytics. Or maybe it's like, you know what? I noticed that the paid subscribers really love the astrology stuff, but the free subscribers really love the business stuff. So I'm going to focus my energy there, like whatever it is. But again, you can't do that if you're not looking at your insights on a weekly and a monthly basis. So here's my final thoughts. Number one, if you're trying to grow on Substack, consistency and value is everything. Okay. This is not an attention economy. This is about value economy. So these daily, weekly, and monthly actions are what's working for me. And I can promise you that they'll work for you too. You got to start small, stay consistent, keep your mind in the right place, stay positive. And I don't mean toxic positivity, but I mean just stay hopeful and keep hanging in there, and then just keep tweaking along the way. The more that you tweak based off of the information that you're receiving from your audience, which is why I encourage weekly insight reviews, the faster your growth will be, because you'll change your strategy based off of what you see is working. Now, if you find yourself thinking, okay, Lex, this sounds wonderful, but it sounds like a lot of work and I don't really know like where to begin, then I want to invite you to book a strategy call with me. On my Astrogram strategy calls, what we do is we work together to come up with your ideal client, come up with content plans, and come up with a strategy based off of your birth chart to help you understand how exactly you can market your business in a way that feels aligned, that feels ethical, intuitive, and fun, right? And so if that's something that you're like, okay, I really need help with this because this sounds great and I really want to grow my Substack, and I can see the vibe, I can see the vibration, and I can see the vision of it, but I just don't know how to implement it, and I'm struggling to get all of these ideas out of my head, then go ahead and book a call with me. I would love to be able to hop on that call, and you get an hour of conversation with me, an hour of content creation, an hour of ideal client avatar creation. And then all of it is recorded and it's live. So that way you can ask me questions right there on that call. And whenever you need to re-listen to it, you can re-listen to the information and get more inspiration, or of course, book another call. But I definitely want to encourage you to book a session with me if you're really looking for personalized strategies. So yeah, look into that. I'll put the links down in the description bar below. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I am so grateful for you, truly grateful for you. Your energy is just so important to me. I can't do this without you guys. And so I'm just thankful that you're here listening. I really hope that this brought you a lot of value and inspiration on your next steps. And like I said, if you're trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I implement the things that I've learned? Then go ahead and book that strategy session with me. All right. I will talk to you guys later in the next episode. Have a wonderful day. Bye.